Hello, everyone. This is Josh Rackless. It is Monday, May 24th, 2021. What time is it? Around 9:30. And this is the nightly summary of my day. I'm going to keep this short because I discovered today that, we've known this forever, but that going to bed too late ruins my days. Last night, I guess I went to bed around 11:30, and I woke up at 7, and I was still too tired. And I thought, but 7 is perfect. Like, I seem to be sort of waking up at 7 every day. I should, just take advantage of this, this morning and go for a jog and be ready. But I didn't. I was like tired, but I checked my phone, whatever. And then I guess my friend Pauline, who's messaging me, that's what I'm distracted by, she messaged me this morning and she's like, hey, we're thinking of going to the arboretum today. Would you want to come? And I was like, sure. I haven't seen her in a long time. She's that girl I met at a bar like 25 years ago. And she's got a couple of kids, and I thought it's nice to see the kids. I can pretend they're my kids. Because, like, on some alternate universe, maybe they're not my kids, but, if I had met her and had kids 11 years ago, they would be. Anyways, and they probably look like mine. She's kind of blonde. The kids are kind of blondish. They're not my kids, though. But anyways, so I was like, okay. And she's like, well, we're going to do it after lunch. I said, and who's going? She's like, with your parents? She's like, no, I've got the kids. So I think when she messaged me yesterday and said something about her parents, I guess she meant yesterday her parents were going to see her. So anyways, and then I said, and so this is around 11:30. And I said, okay, I'm just trying to sleep a bit. And she's like, okay, have a nap. So I put on my alarm for like 1 o'clock. And, earlier there was a couple of dates on Filter Off. That's that app that, like, they randomly have speed dating events at all times. So I think there was one at 10. So when I tried sleeping again at 8:30, I set my alarm for 10 so I could get up and do those. And then, and one of the girls, I think that was today, lives in Lagos. Is that in Nigeria? Or is that another country? Anyway, she's like a web programmer. And I was like, oh, hey, maybe we can make websites together. So anyways, so that was at 10. So then I tried to go back to sleep, and I set my alarm for 1. I'm like, okay, now it's like 1 o'clock. And I was thinking, half of me was like, I should go for a jog still. But then I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to see her, I can walk around. That can be my exercise. I don't have to have a jog. Like, let's just get it's 1 o'clock. Like, I'm living like, this is not how Elon Musk got ahead. He's in my head right now because I was just watching a clip on YouTube of Elon Musk cameo in the first Iron Man. And, he wasn't sleeping until 1 o'clock every day. So I just got it. And I mentioned this to Pauline today when we were together, and she's like, you've always struggled with this. I'm like, yes, like every night I go to bed too late, and then I get up and I'm too tired. So, yeah, so tonight I just want to go to bed early. But anyways, I'll tell you about the thing. So, went to the Arboretum with them, and it's beautiful. I didn't even know it was there. Like, she's like, you haven't heard of it? I'm like, I guess I've sort of heard of it, and I've heard the word, but then she's like, oh, we're going to check out this wildlife thing or something. Anyways, but also this guy Jack, who was in my comedy class over the winter in Ireland, he messaged me this morning. He's like, hey, I've got a slot on my comedy show at 3 o'clock. Like, it's, I don't know, I guess it was 8 p.m. Ireland time. And I'm like, well, I don't have any jokes. He's like, oh, but I love your old jokes. You could just do those. I'm like, I haven't even looked at my notes. And I'm like, can I just talk? He's like, yeah, fine. So then I said, okay, well, I'm going to be in the woods. Can I log in? He's like, all right, log in whenever at 3 o'clock, and then you can be the first and then go. I'm like, okay. So we're walking through the woods, just stunning. I'll show you. I haven't even posted pictures yet, and I wanted to post the pictures so that if I get a Facebook memory in 10 years, it'll be like, oh, that was May 24th. And if I post them tomorrow, it'll be like the wrong day that it'll give me the memory. But I know I like to write my little captions and decide which videos go like on their own thing and which photos could be just a group thing. And so I figured that it's not worth staying up extra late trying to get that all done because staying up late is interfering with my life and success. And hello, Fernandez says hello. How are you? Nice to see you. And then, if I post them tomorrow, it doesn't matter that the date is slightly off. Like, I overthink social media too much. So then, we're walking around. So beautiful. Just like, we read the signs. Her daughter was reading the signs, saying, didn't you read the sign? It says, and I'm like, I did read the sign. Because her mom was like, what are all these twigs doing here? And her daughter's like, we don't still there was piles of twigs that we don't know why they were there, and there was tarps we couldn't figure it out. But we did read the signs saying that volunteers planted this whole forest on an empty field with all these different trees, and wildlife came and lived in it. It's stunning. So, oh, and Pauline just sent me 16 photos, so you'll see more photos from the day. And then, yeah, so at 3 o'clock, I'm like, oh, I better turn on my camera. So then I just chatted with Jack and these two other comedians who were in this little comedy video room. And, I just riffed with them for 10 minutes talking about Ireland and Scotland. And I was doing all my Irish accents and my Scottish accents. And then he's like, okay, do you want to do your jokes? And I'm like, well, that was my material. That was it. I don't have anything. He's like, oh, well, what about, your jokes about living in your parents, being a prisoner in your parents' basement? I'm like, oh, right. Like, that was my routine in my class the whole time. Mayhem May, says Ami. So I guess, what? I don't even know what that means. Oh, I guess we used to talk about, like, it was going to be positive January and whatever, and I guess May is mayhem because I've just been sleeping in and not being productive. Or maybe, I don't know. Mayhem, it could be just mayhem. That's funny. So then I did he's like, oh yeah, you're prisoner in your parents' basement. So I tried to remember my little jokes, and I think I thought of one of them. And then he's like, yeah, and don't you like being in prison? So he's feeding me my material. I'm like, all right. And I was trying to talk about, how I want to go to prison because I'll have friends there. And I knew I did my Arnold Schwarzenegger accent in my routine, but I can't remember why. I couldn't remember what it was that Arnold said. All I could remember was at some point I was like, guys, like living in prison could be like paradise, like summer camp, if we just all agreed not to stab each other. And then my roommate would be, but I like to stab. So that's what I remembered. So I should just go back and review my jokes and look for a few of the little, what we called in class the cruxes and be able to tell it. Because I just entered, I'm going to be in a comedy contest this summer, I guess next month, very soon. So I better write some jokes. And then, so finally I said, okay, I did my little, few jokes. I'm like, okay, and he's like, thanks a lot. And I'm like, okay, bye. And then, we just walked around. There was beautiful streams. Like the view from a top hill looked like it was a painting. With like one little lake and then another lake behind this island. And everybody was lying around and picnicking. And the kids kept looking in the water going, look at this fish. There's a big fish. There's a little fish. And we'd walk a bit and we'd go, oh, there's another fish. Look at the fish. And it was just, I said, this is what we, used to do before YouTube. So Ami says, I am vaxxed, waxed, and ready to relax. And there's all X's, like 2 X's in all those words. And so now I've got an image of Ami being waxed, which upsets me. I want to get that out of my head. And he's ready to relax. That's good. I know Ami went to a bar this weekend. They've opened up Washington, D.C., so that's fine. One thing we were talking about, so I'll talk about bars in a second. Yeah, so we were in the park. It's all beautiful. Well, I'll tell you the thing about bars. We were in the market later, the Byward Market, and I was looking at the bars, and there's balconies above, like these little 2-story apartments above the 2 stories of apartments above the bars. I'm like, wouldn't it be fun to live above the bar? And she's like, yeah, like when we were young, and that's what we wanted. I'm like, yeah, I know. Why can't we go to bars as grown-ups? Like, it's just so sad. Like, what do grown-ups do? She's like, I don't know. I try to have fun. But she's got kids, and so she has a purpose. So that's what we were talking about in the park. I was saying that, it must be so great to have kids. Like, she's like, yeah, and like I do all these things because I have kids. And I said, I didn't even know this park was here. And like, but there's no reason. If you don't have kids, why would you, like, what am I going to do? Come to this park alone and sit on the grass? I mean, I guess you could, but if you have a girlfriend, you can do that. But I'm like, I don't know anybody in Ottawa. But it was very beautiful, and we walked around, and then she's like, oh, do you want to go for food? So we decided we're going to go to this place called King Eddie. She's like, they have a great burger downtown. And we went there, and then we got this, double cheeseburgers, cheese, which is not good. Not for my I'm trying to lose weight. But it's fun, just sitting with the kids, sitting on a curb. And then her daughter, who's 11, she was like, let's go sit in the shade. I'm like, yes, because I brought my umbrella, my Canada flag umbrella, like protect me from the sun. But I still, somehow the sun found me, so I better start slathering up with sunscreen. I thought it was going to be cooler today. Not that the temperature affects the sun, but I wasn't really thinking about sun. And then we walked around the market for a while, and we looked at, discovering old buildings and looking at statues and looking at the church. And it was just really nice, like, with the kids pointing out things and joking around. Her son is like a bit younger than the girl. And it was all really, really nice. And then I came home. My mom texted me like around 6 saying, "You're going to be home for dinner." I'm like, well, I'm in the market and I just had a burger. Oh, and when I was leaving the house, my sister, they were doing a Zoom call with my uncle and my sister and their kids. And I was just like, I'm leaving. And my sister's like, oh, like my uncle's like, where are you going? And I'm like, just a walk. And he's like, my sister's like, you're escaping the house. I do that at night. I go for a walk for an hour and a half and stuff. So I guess that's kind of what I was doing. And then, I came back and my parents were just sitting down to eat. And then, so I had a slice. My mom said, do you want some quiche? I'm like, all right, I had a slice of quiche anyways. And then, then they were going to watch this show. They've been watching the CNN show where it's the history of talk shows, which I probably should watch because I want to be a talk show host. But I didn't, because my mom's like, oh, but you've got your audiobook to do. I'm like, yes, I better start doing that. So I came downstairs, but then, I was sort of brushing my teeth. I'm like getting ready and I'm like, nah, now it's like too late. I'm like, if I sit down to start, it's like, I'm going to be up too late again. And I need to just lock this down and start going to bed early. Like I was like, if I go to bed at 9, I can be asleep by 10 and then just get up really early and just power through the day. So hopefully it's not too late now. Hopefully I haven't rambled too long. And then that was it. And I was watching YouTube, just clips come by while I'm brushing my teeth, stuff I'm watching YouTube. And I watched this clip from the Dave Chappelle show. It was the race auctions. And one of the, the commentators of this was, what's his name? Not Bill Maher. Bill Burr? Bill Burr, is that his name who I'm trying to think of? The redheaded guy? Bill Burr? I don't think so. The podcast, Bill Burr. I guess that is his name. I don't feel like that's his name. But the guy that's on Star Wars now, he was so young. Because, this must have been 20 or 30 years ago. And he kind of looked like me. It kind of made me realize, yeah, that's what I used to look like. My young face, like this beautiful young face with red hair. And I'm like, oh, it happens to all of us. Oh, well. But if you get money, then you can be like Joe Rogan and just look like me and still live a life. Welcome, Kathleen. Vivian says, hello, how are you? Hello back, thank you. And that's it. So I'm not going to ramble on too much longer. That's basically my day. And the lesson of today, I don't know what the lesson is. Should have had kids. Wear sunscreen. And go to bed earlier so that I'm not sleeping till 1 p.m. Hey, Kathleen. That was really bad. I cannot do that anymore. So I'm going to go to bed right now. Hopefully I'm going to take my chocolate melatonin and hopefully I get up early because I've got to start getting up at 7 at the latest. Getting up at 6 would be great because then I'll have so much done by noon. And because that's how I'm going to become a billionaire by the end of the week. And, actually, Pauline said become a millionaire first. I was like, all right, my first million, then we'll go to that. We saw a fancy Italian restaurant. I said, we'll go there when I get my first million this week. And then billion and she's like, oh, billion, we can do anything. We can go to Bali and stuff. So, yeah, it'll be exciting. So let me know who wants to come to Bali with me. If anybody has any final words, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, no comments, nothing. That was the summary of my day. And I will see you all tomorrow. Hope you all had a good Monday. Bye.